Hey, hi, Cecilia. Well, welcome everyone to Community Light Hours. What Community Light Hours are, it's a free group coaching session where we look at a topic together. It's dynamic and live, it's recorded, and then it's also placed on YouTube. And it's a place also where we investigate each of your next step, how the Lightyear community could serve you, whether it's becoming a member, taking a course, deepening your coaching for people that are already certified Lightyear coaches, whatever it is. And we're here to really serve and generate community and provide something of value to community. So today's topic is on how to be a confident leader. And I want to let you know that I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'm going to be handing it over to my co-hosts, Daniel McCall and Jen Fowler. They are going to be co-leading an integrated leadership course that begins in November. And so we're going to get to have a taste of some of the things that they've discovered in their own leadership and in what confidence means to them. So are you guys ready for a story? So I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to give you fresh bagels. This isn't even, I was with some of you guys just an hour and a half ago. This is a completely different thing. Okay, so last Saturday, my wonderful husband, Brett Conrad, was inducted into the Colorado School of Mines Athletic Hall of Fame for men's swimming. And yeah, I know, like, I love how Debbie claps for everyone. If you ever need, like, you can actually get, like a recording of Debbie clapping for you. It feels good. But so great honor, and he was so happy. So we're at that, kind of get the picture of where we are, big rounders, a buffet. It's of course in a building that during the day is used for basketball, it's a lot of things. Sorry, the bleachers are all pushed back. Anyway, and we're sitting there with our second eldest son, Chandra, who is a big part of how and why we created Lightyear, because Chandra has some learning differences and, is on a different place, maybe in his developmental range, and yet a genius in and of himself. And so he's really the child that had me study the brain and learn how to get up underneath people that are different and all that. So yeah, at least a big place in my heart for Chandra. So Chandra and Brett and I are sitting at this dinner, and Lightyear-ish type things start to happen at the table. So Chandra turns to Brett and says to him, "Hey, Dad," because Brett and I just recently celebrated our 30th anniversary. And so he says to Brett, he goes, "Well, what had you know to like marry Mom? What had you say she's the one?" Yeah, Alicia, I'm like, oh my, he's never asked this question. I'm kind of sweating that little Lightyear sweat, and Brett's here and Chandra's here. And Brett says, "Well, Chandra, that's a great question, and it was her confidence." And I'm like, her confidence. Because when I've asked him directly what he was attracted to me in, his big sexy response was, "I love your consistency." Now, those two things might be similar. But so anyway, I went back to reflect confidence. So I'm going to take you back to another rounder. And when I say rounder, it's those things that you sit at when you have like a formalized talk in a corporate, God knows whatever. So where Brett met me was in Denver, 32 years ago, also at a rounder, and I was the speaker. And I was speaking about the work that I was doing at Rocky Flats Nuclear Weapons Facility. And I was sharing about providing communication to the people there and helping them create a vision for their lives, because many of them were going to have new careers because the mission of the plant was being transitioned, and they would need to be leaving what they had done to do something else. And I had this picture in my mind that everything would work out for people. I was very much in my own shared picture and faith that there would be success for these people. And of course, they were in fear and doubt. So when I look back on it, that's what Brett Conrad was able to sense when I was speaking was mom was confident. What he wasn't saying like, oh, she's got good posture and she knows her SH stuff. It was more that I was speaking from this peaceful knowledge of a vision and resting myself in that possibility and that faith. So with that, I want to introduce to you my two co-hosts, especially if you're new to Lightyear or just dropping in a little bit after maybe having some time doing other things. I'd like you to meet Jen Fowler. She's our leader of coaches. So she helps provide the programming and the support to the people that become Lightyear coaches. And she's super fun, and she's a mom, and she deals with all the things that we all deal with. And she does it with grace and with humor, which is some of my favorite things about her. And her co-host is the wonderful Daniel McCall, who is our project empowerment officer. So he's the person in Lightyear that, with a smile and a twinkle in his eye and a little plaid shirt, says, well, Susanne, what have you done about that? He's the person that helps keep the safe kind of fire lit under my patootie, so that things move forward, because that's a form of empowerment and passion. And so the two of them together are going to be leading in November, during the Wednesdays of November, not the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, but all the other Wednesdays of November for 4 sessions, they'll be doing an integrated leadership program. And so today, the three of us are going to talk about ways about how to become a more confident leader. And it's my dream and hope that by the time we get to the end of this call, no matter where you are in your touch place with Lightyear and the things that we do in the world, you will have a new access to your own confidence and your own leadership. So now I hand it over to my co-hosts.
Hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh, thanks, Susanne. This is so fun. So you all should know that Daniel and I go way back and have been co-leading together for almost 10
years.
Almost 10 years. We've been together in leading yoga studios, and we're excited for this creation of leading together. So super fun. Okay, Daniel, let's go.
All right. So the title is How to Be a Confident Leader. And I guess I really want to start with the question. So this is a question for the audience, is like, what is a confident leader to you? What do you see as a quality of a confident leader? No right answers, just what do you see? You can even unmute and just kind of popcorn shout it out if it doesn't get too crazy.
Gloria said grounded.
Mm-hmm. A clear vision. Oh, good. Oh, we're typers tonight. I like this. Not knowing all the answers.
Active
Someone who
listener.
listens actively.
Fun. I like fun to be with. Yes, Debbie. And owning responsibilities, mistakes. Somebody who knows their strengths. Yeah, these are good. What else? When you see confident leaders, genuine and honest, what do you see them embodying? What are the actions that they're taking? These are good.
Makes a decision. Oh yeah, decisive, genuine, and honest. Ask good questions.
Firmly trusting and bold. These are good. Okay. Smile.
These are so good.
Empathetic.
So let's see. Do I want to start with one of these? I do want to start with one of these. Well, the first thing I want to start with, so I'm a language guy. Before I was a Lightyear coach, and before I was a yoga teacher, even, I was an English student. So I have that wonderful English undergrad experience. And so I love words, and I love learning the meanings of words and where they come from, because there's so much that gets locked away in the power of words. So it's helpful to know what they mean. So confidence, if you start to break it down, goes back to Latin roots, confidere, Does anyone know what fidere means? You may recognize it from the Marine logo, Semper Fidelis.
Mhm.
Yeah, Loria, with fidelity, with faithfulness. Yes. So always faithful. That's the Semper Fidelis. So confidence is confidere. It literally means with faith, right? And in Lightyear, we talk about faith in a really specific way. So it's not faith in necessarily like a religious meaning of the word. It's not about religion at all. It's really your faith is your conviction, your persuasion, your really strongly held beliefs, plus there's a little plus sign there, corresponding action, right? So faith is taking action on what you believe to be real and true about the world, right? And so I could just look at this list of all these amazing things that you believe to be true about confident leadership. And the very quick and succinct answer on how to be a confident leader is to be fun to be with, to own the responsibility of your mistakes, to listen actively, to be genuine and honest and decisive and ask really good questions. So you see how this works, right? It's taking those things you believe and actually taking action on them. So that's what confidence really is to me. And I know sometimes I file it differently in my mind, where I think that confidence is maybe like bravado, or it's something that I have before I do what I want to do. But there's something about the order of operations that really doesn't work. When I have faith in my actions before I take them, I tend to have better success, but it doesn't mean I always think it's going to work out. And it's not a guarantee that there's always a success. And so part of my leading with confidence is knowing that I'm learning all the time, right? So my leading really comes from my ability to be a learner and be transparent about that and ask good questions.
I love that, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And one of the things that being like, there was a way that I echo that I thought confidence and knowledge went together, right? That knowledge and confidence go together. And when the two fuse together, I'll be confident then. When I know enough, I'll be confident, right? And what I've discovered is that the knowledge it's present and it doesn't indicate the confidence level, right? There's an active faith that's required of me to step forward without knowing all the answers.
Mhm.
Without knowing the answers, and being in the discovery of the answers as I lead and embodying, like Susanne is, I do bring humor to where I go, and that is part of it. Like bringing these things and knowing that the answers will come when I take the action forward, and that confidence, in my experience, is a muscle I build too. And it requires me to lift the bicep curl. I say this all the time, that we get stronger and we have to take the action. So we don't start with like a 30-pound weight. We start with a 5-pound confidence weight. And then we start with an 8-pound confidence weight. And then we get to our 30-pound confident weight. And it is that active of stepping forward in it without like needing to know all the answers.
So having heard that, the meaning of confidence and kind of this order of operations of confidence, let's just hear from a person or two. Like what's showing up for you already? What are you seeing around your confidence? And I'd love to hear also if there's any specific challenges you're having in any area around confidence, because that can be the meat of what we work on a call too, like this. Who's going to share? Oh, there we go. Hi, Sharni. Let's go Sharni first. And Crystal, just keep your hand up right there. I like seeing you on my top row.
Yeah, I think one thing that really sticks with me in terms of what Susanne said in the past is that which I've really kind of taken in and embodied, is that the world doesn't need more polished leaders. Like that polished coming off, the bravado, the world does not need any more of that. And so, you know, I've embodied that and then take on board and then present myself in a way that is where I'm at. And, you know, in where I'm at, in my progress, in my own growth, and I just really feel people deeply connect into that, because then they don't have to show up trying to look polished and be confident. And, you know, I've really noticed that of late, showing up as a leader, and a confident leader is kind of being in the unpolishedness of it.
Yeah. There's a way that some of the things like rhetoric and the way people talk and the charm, it can in some ways actually mask what's really happening or what's going on. So I'm hearing you say it's about, you know, being willing to be however you are. And this is one of the great things about integrated leadership as a program and as a concept. Like, what is an integrated leader? For me, it's someone who's able to bring themselves fully to wherever they are, right? So when I show up, I'm showing up as Daniel. Now, I aim to show up as my, you know, highest possible self at any time, yet I'm also human. So I know that comes with a multitude of experiences and a multitudes of emotions and a multitudes of, you know, willingness to show up and do things. So knowing that, though, I'm able to be fully integrated and whole because I can show up as a whole person. And that also allows me to help honor other people showing up as whole humans with big lives and lots of complex parts, and allows me to really work at this level where I can be compassionate with people, yet still lead where we need to go and have that vision to lead by and align to keep moving forward to. This is so good, Sharni.
I want to just actually say something about you, Daniel. So for people that don't know Daniel, or you're seeing, you're like, okay, what has he got? Disco lights behind him. So like Daniel is living what he's expressing. So Daniel has made a commitment to, you know, to his own whole freedom and his wealth and his mobility. So he's been transitioning his wonderful van into his office, traveling. And see, like, what if Daniel had a belief that like, oh, I can't be a confident leader because I need to have an office that looks like XYZ, instead of standing exactly directly in my own power and who I am and contribute from there, from that place. And see, this is the thing that actually, I don't, you know, when you see it in people, it's just the most wonderful thing. There's no fakery to it. It's a straightforward power. So I know you didn't say that about yourself, but that's why I'm here to say that about you, Daniel.
Thank you,
okay.
Susanne.
You're welcome. Okay, carry on then. So
yeah, it's true. I'll say, if anything you want to know about leadership, you can learn by building out a van, because I'll like start a project and I won't know what I'm doing. I'm doing electrical now. I'm not I had an English degree, right? Not an electrician. So like I'm learning things, and then I'll get a certain amount of knowledge and I'll think, oh, I've got this, I can do this. And of course I can do it. And then something goes wrong, or something needs more tweaking or more learning or more failure and experimenting. So it really is all really present for me here. Let's go to Crystal. How are you doing, Crystal? It's so good to see you. Oh, you'll have to unmute.
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to be here. I'm liking that I'm hearing that to be a confident leader, you don't have to know necessarily where you're headed. And I get that. I can be a confident leader when it comes to hiking trips or travel. Where I find that I'm not confident at all, a leader or otherwise, is when, especially when I'm working with a group and I'm in fear of speaking my truth in case someone won't like it. I'm still stuck in that trap of, oh, they'll think I'm a meanie, or they won't like me if I say, you know, if I interrupt, or I don't think that's a good idea, or I'm starting this art group where we meet once a month rather, in Berkeley. and I'm quiet, and I'm a little mouse, and it's like, that's not who I am. And it's because I'm in fear of saying something that someone won't like. And I think a true leader, that doesn't occur to them, as long as they're speaking their truth.
Crystal, I love this. I'm curious, Crystal. Here's my take. I show up and I can relate to you of like noticing that that's not my full self showing up, right? Who I know myself to be is a different version than who is showing up. And what would it look like for you to share fully who you are? Like, what would it look like to try and see how it goes? What would it look like?
I think, well, first of all, it would look authentic. And worst case scenario, it's like people might think I'm a bitch. It's like, okay, I'll learn to deal with that. And that's my assumption and not necessarily even reality.
And they might be waiting for you to be the person to say the thing. Like, that's what we often don't see in our leading, is that what we don't bring of our whole selves, that piece we keep on the sideline, is what's needed. Right? That whole group, Crystal, they need you to go in there and like shake up the art group, say the things, like they're ready to be shifted. And what's required is for us to see that when we are not bringing our whole self, sometimes we think we're going to like push the button. What we can see, Crystal, is, well, what if we push the button and it leads to something new?
Good point. And practicing pushing the button is lifting the weights. You know, I'm able to talk in a Zoom meeting now where before I couldn't. So that's a weight I'm learning how to lift.
Yeah, Suzanne wrote in the chat, for instance, saying something to the group like, there are things I'm noticing I'm not saying for the concern of being unliked or upsetting. What if you told them, Crystal, that you've got that? Like, what if you were fully a transparent leader and you were like, ladies, is it all ladies?
Yes, actually. Yeah.
Ladies, let me tell you something about this. There's a way in which I'm really not sharing everything because I'm afraid you all aren't going to like me, or I'm going to upset you guys. And I'm just going to go for it. Like, I'm just going to go for it. And I'm going to bust free and I'm going to share. I bet you they'd be like, yeah, bring it, Crystal. We need to be unleashed to be able to share that too.
I agree. That's a good point.
Well, could you try it?
Yeah, 2 weeks from now, I will. I'll commit to that.
Great. Right. So I want to seal like what we're learning from Crystal in how to like if we're writing a step one of being a confident leader, bring your whole self. Like, bring your whole self and invite other people to bring their whole selves as well. Yeah. Okay, great. Good job, Crystal. Really good job. I can't wait to hear how bringing your full self to your group goes. Will you let us know on the dashboard or check back in with us and let us know?
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome.
Jen, who is the author, the community author that you read in Champions? I can't remember his name, but I have a definition from him that's probably helpful. Block.
Peter Block.
Yeah, Peter Block. So one of the things, Crystal, I love that you talked about is just an authentic expression. And people, you know, I've been in the yoga industry for like a long time, like 16 or 17 years now. Authenticity is like a big buzzword there. And it seems like people have a hard time like grasping it. They kind of put it on a pedestal of like this magical place or this magical state of being. And Peter Block says simply, authenticity is putting your experience into words. And so being able to share your experience, whatever the experience is, and have that ability just to put it into words is all that authenticity is. And that doesn't mean it's a trifle thing though. It's that when we do that, that is what creates us to be a confident leader. because we're doing the thing, we're expressing ourselves, and it paves the way for other people, like Jen was saying, to see that, oh, expressing myself isn't a bad thing. Expressing myself isn't something I should suppress or repress. So you really can cause a whole cascade of authentic expression simply by putting whatever you're experiencing into words. One of the ways that shows up for me is when I don't know the answer to something.
Mm.
Or I don't know what to do next. Now that's another one. I have a lot of answers. I'm usually pretty good with answers. And it's like, I don't know what to do next. And I ran 2 really awesome, successful yoga studios for 15 years. And I was an English major. Like, I can't reiterate that enough. They don't really teach you to do yoga studios in German Romanticism from the 1800s. So I didn't have a lot of MBA type, responses to people's questions. I didn't have a lot of workflows. I came up with a lot of them. And many of the things that I came up with by asking other people on my team and being authentic with them that, hey, I'm figuring this out and I'm, decisive and I have a vision. How can we create this experience to be what we want it to be? And it's not just about me having to show up as an answer. It's me showing up, asking a question that helps everyone move up to a whole new level. And that's really what leadership is, when everyone takes a leadership step forward. And it's not just like the leader at the front of the line saying, go this way.
Mm. Colette.
Hi, Colette.
Hi, hi everyone. I could share so much about this right now. Thank you. This is such a great conversation because I just had such a huge lesson in being a confident leader. And I'd like to shout out to Jen Fowler because she walked me through the last 2 weeks. So I finally launched as a coach, and I got 5 students at the same 5 students I'm coaching at the college. I've shared that before. And so Jen had to build out, I'm taking them through the Lightyear program and I'm on platform. So what I want to share about confident leader is, I used to think it meant that you didn't have any fear, that you were ready to go ahead and be a leader when it didn't feel, I used to think, like, I had this epiphany this morning that my belief was that if I did this work and I did my Geotran in the morning, nothing would ever happen in my life that was challenging or difficult, because it would all work out perfectly because I was done all this work. And what was fascinating is logistics is now a love language for me, and it wasn't. And so Jen had to walk me patiently through a lot of how to onboard these students, and I made a lot of mistakes. And I have to share with you that I would stand in my kitchen and I would just want to give up, because I'm seeing 5 separate sessions a week. And Jen kept saying, you've got this, you've got this. And what I realized was, for me to show up to these students, they're first generation college students who have very little support. So what I realized was, I wasn't doing anyone a favor by being in this place of like, well, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. And I also understood that I had to step into it knowing that you have to start somewhere as a leader. And in other places in my life, I'm a confident leader when I teach a NIA class, et cetera. And I thought, just be that person in these sessions with these young adults. And what keeps coming up for me is, it's really hard in a really fun way. Like, it's really, all those body sensations we're teaching, we're talking about, were happening to me until I sat down in front of these beautiful students and started the session. And it was so amazing to see how I had been waiting to be perfect. I had been waiting to know everything, how to deliver it perfectly. And so it's been and so I've done 3 of the students, and I have to share with you, it was really funny. It was so beautiful. I was talking to them about one of the gentlemen about legacy, and he said, "Stop, this is so profound. I have to write all of this down." And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm hoping they'll come to Lighthours. So anyway, thank you for this topic, because I'm realizing, and I'm realizing that the feelings will still come up when I do my other 2, and that I'm still a confident leader, that I can sit down, because that's what I owe them. I owe them to show up in a way that is supportive and loving and all the things people wrote, because that's how you affect people. And that's what we all want to do by being coaches. So thank you for listening.
Colette, good job. Like, just good job. It's been such a joy to watch you, and what I heard you say is to move forward with fear.
Yeah.
Like, instead of pushing it away, right? Like, I was using this analogy of a ball in water today with someone, and the more you try to push it down, the more it keeps popping up. And then if you really push it down really far, then what happens? It goes and explodes up. And so it's more like allowing the ball to come up, that ball of fear, sitting beside it, swimming with it, and letting it be. And Colette, you articulated something that I want to pull out that you said, which is, and it's similar a little bit to Crystal, in that what you did was put yourself out there with a vision of where you were going and what you wanted to do, with the fear beside you. And what we frequently forget is we imagine the fear of all the things that could happen if we do it. And what we forget to remember sometimes is the big vision of what's possible if we do it, and those lives that you're impacting. So Colette, fear now can have these faces of these students on it, and to say, but with my fear beside me, I led these students, and they are having profound impacts, and it will support you in all the other things you feel fear. You'll remember these students, and you'll be like, oh yeah, remember what fear feels like? Here, I'm going to go. I don't know the answer to that, and I'm going to go.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And it's really becoming friends with those waves of feeling that come up. So embracing that, and so thank you. And I have to say, it really helps to have a buddy. I don't know if Jen thought she was going to be my buddy for 2 weeks, but she was. It really helps someone to be there with you, saying, it's okay, just step into it. So thanks.
You're welcome. Get a buddy. You heard it. You heard it from Colette. Get a buddy.
Get a buddy and a vision. That's the big thing I heard, was to have a vision and to spend time there, versus the anti-vision, right? Of all the things that could go wrong, or the ways it could get derailed, or all that other stuff. And I think that's probably why buddies might work so well, is because you have someone there to kind of bounce your vision back to you in that positive way of like affirmation and what you're working towards and what can happen, that sometimes I can't always maintain on my own. I know I went through a big in August, like I want to quit and sell the van and do, I was just like, I can't do it anymore. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish all this year. And I sense myself spiraling, and we did the community Lighthours with Susanne and Bertha, where we wrote kind of a shorter term vision. And that is what actually was able to then get up and underneath me and lift me back up to the, I can do this, right? So the vision is just so important, and to spend time there. You also said body sensations, Colette, like, knowing that there's going to be a spectrum of sensations that come up as you're going through a project, whatever that is. And having more time in the vision is going to help you stay there and get there faster.
Yeah, one last thing. I think what I started saying, I think Jen probably said it to me at first, is like, this is your vision. you're living in your vision. And it was like, oh, see, I thought a vision was supposed to be perfectly fun and forgetting that happiness is a choice and that I wasn't going to have all these feelings. And so I started walking around my home saying, I'm living in my vision. This is my vision. I have my vision, because on some level, I just didn't ever think that was going to happen, that I was going to be able to step into coaching and become a coach. And so verbalizing it, and now my husband says it to me every time I go, he goes, this is your vision. This is what you wanted. So those body sensations, you've got your toolkit, go walk on the beach, whatever, and have fun, listen to music. So so verbalizing and remembering that it's never pure, right? It's just all sorts of feelings. So yeah.
Good job.
So good.
Colette.
Good job. Good job.
Daniel, could I
All right.
interject something?
Yeah.
Just kind of from the sidelines, like I'm sensing into the field of the people that are here, and I want to address this. Some of you might be saying, well, easy for you to say, you work in an environment where XYZ. So I want to share from another kind of environment, or an older school environment, and just give people a picture of that. So, I was leading a piece of work at a company, and that particular CEO had what I would call very closed listening. So it was challenging for him to be open. And so what I shared with him in front of all of the hundreds of people was, and this was, I'm saying this more, I think I'm saying this for Crystal, maybe for Betsy, I don't know, people that are like working in, places where you're, it's different thought, just all of it, So I said, what if we need to have some compassion to understand that this person, let's just call him Bob, that actually was his name, but like Bob, that Bob isn't yet open to the possibility that he's closed. So if we can hold the picture long enough that he can open up and show us more of him without us judging him as that he's closed, because we've spent too much time characterizing him by past actions. And the guy pretty much almost cried because he was finally seen, like he had been working on himself, and so I wanted to say that because there's a way where it's just really time for those of us that can do what Peter Block said, that Daniel told us about, like bring these, authenticity is putting your experience into words. Those of us that can begin to say some of the things we're sensing, it's important for us to do that, because not everybody can, and it starts to open up doors. So the end of that story was that by the time the conference was over, the person was able to say, I really have a commitment to be open. I've spent my life that way because I was shown that's what a confident leader does. He had the picture, you guys hear me? He had the picture, a confident leader, like no ifs, ands, or buts, we're going, to the North Pole, and that's what we're doing. And if I'm open to you, that's a sign of weakness, or, so I want to just give a little cheer and a shout out to the old guard, because some of you might be working in those environments, and I want you to be tooled up to be unintimidated and compassionate and effective. Okay. I know, a little out of the side, but yeah. Okay,
Well,
that's all.
I'll say it's not really off the side too much, because what I see going sideways with that is I tend to go into rebellion then. And then I'm no longer a confident leader, I'm a rebellious leader, or it's, something where I'm fighting where I'm actually meant to be leading, which is just different. So I kind of shed some stuff from like 10 years ago right there.
You know what I
Wow.
do?
Okay, I'll mute.
Daniel rebels and I shrink.
Oh yeah, we've both seen that over the years.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
also why it's good to have a buddy you build trust and visibility with over time, because I totally know what you talk. I've been with Jen where I'm like, this is your job. Like as her boss, I've been in that position, and like this is actually your job and yours to do, when she might want to shrink.
Mhm.
And I can totally see the times where I just rebel against like authority versus like an authentic expression, right? The authority is that just kind of what Susanne described, yet that's not actually how I'm helpful.
I think we're identifying this other layer of how to be a confident leader, Daniel and Susanne and everyone here, which is to know the places you go, right? Know the places you go. Like Daniel goes to rebellion. I go to shrink. Like, what is that place? And then, as Colette said, to get the body sensations of shrink. Like, I know what the body sensations of shrink are. I bet Daniel knows the body sensations of rebellion. You know the body sensations of the place that you go when you're not your full self. Like, and you can recognize them, and you begin to get good at like, oh, there's me shrinking, right? Like, there I go. And in a fun way. Like, we bring in the fun, like, oh, there I go shrinking. Okay. And then you ask yourself a question like, well, what do I need to get back to be my whole self? I love that, Daniel. I'm so glad you said that. And I'm glad to see, it's good for me to see that. I'm glad to see that. Yeah, know the places you go, avoiding, Suzanne's putting some in the chat. One of the hows is to know the places you go when you are not you. Yeah, rebellion, shrinking, avoiding. Are there some others that people know? Type them in the chat. Defensive, yeah.
Blaming.
Victim. It's not fair. It's not fair. What else? These are good. These are good. They're not ready. I do. Colette says I do victim while monkey mind, spinning wheels, spinning, hyper. They don't get it. Yeah, and when we identify them, we can see them projecting onto others outside of the people involved. Oh, these are good, you all. These are good. Know where you go. It's a waste of my time.
I love this. This is a very typing group this evening. So
I know.
maybe we keep that going. I'll ask another question and you can answer in the chat. And you can also raise your hand and share. What action are you seeing that you could take today? I don't know why today, I'm asking today, and it's already 7:16 p.m. on the East Coast, so there's not a lot of time left, but what action can you take today to feel like a more confident leader? Concrete. So we're taking it from the concept to your real world. What is your faith plus corresponding action that you could take today to feel more confident? And I would love to have at least one person share verbally, just so we can hear another voice enrich the space. Sharni says, be in my values.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Alicia.
Mhm.
Hey, okay, this is good because there's like a level of accountability that's going to come with sharing this, right?
Of course.
And let me know if the internet cuts out. It's not great where I am. I am going to say yes to someone who has asked to be a client, even though I feel like I'm not ready. I'm going to say yes because I am ready.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to email him today.
Good job, Alicia.
Thank you.
I love it because that's what makes you ready.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
it. And then Colette's
what
share
makes you
really
ready.
helped. So thank you, Colette.
Yeah. Good job. All right.
Yeah.
What are some of the things to honor myself with what I need versus what I should be doing? They're not quite all actions though. So you want to get really real with like, well, what can I say, do, like, what can I move around in the physical world on this planet? Like an actual action. So like Alicia said, she's saying yes. She's saying yes to someone. That's an action.
Debbie says,
Crystal.
set up an alarm to study and do it. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, there you go. Good job, Debbie. Crystal says, say yes to a parent who's asked me to teach her daughter. Great. Are you going to do that today, Crystal? Yes. Can you say yes today? Yeah, good. That's good.
Gloria.
Okay, I have to say it out loud. That way I'm hearing it and not just typing it. So my action I am going to take is to post on LinkedIn, because I've been avoiding posting on LinkedIn, and I really know that that's exactly what I need to do. So I'm like, oh, it's like, it's not perfect. And this phone call, I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, it's time. So.
Yeah.
Alaria, you're demonstrating what a confident leader does. And the chat is great. Like we're on Zoom and the chat is great. What you did distinctly, and you said it out loud, was I need to voice this, right? I need to declare it, right? Leaders declare things, they assert, they make requests, they make promises, right? They're voicing, and you did that so beautifully. And your declaration before that you needed to say it out loud was perfect. Thank you for doing that.
Yes, absolutely. And you can see the proof on my face and ear. I don't know if you guys can see this, like I'm rosy red, like a little red. Oh, I know I have to do it. That is just the physical body sensations they're showing up, and I'm feeling them. So yeah, it's time.
Good job. Yeah, who else has an action, the action that they know that they can take to step into being the confident leader that you can be? There's probably one or two more. You can voice them or you can put them in the chat, either one.
So I'm going to say something that Susanne talked about earlier on our coaches meeting is you need to tell people that you're a coach. And I'm going to do that tonight. I'm going to a dinner party, and there's going to be a lot of people there that are, very successful, know me as a property manager. And also, I don't talk about being a coach with them very much. So I'm going to step out tonight and talk about it and launch myself to my friends in a way that's professional and just fun.
Good job, Colette. One thing I've been practicing with my friends, which is launching into that, doing all those things. And then, Colette, you know what I do after that? I say, so if you know somebody that needs my help, would you let them know? That's an upgrade to your sharing that you might have been ready to do tonight. And I'll offer that. Oh, could you do that? Yeah, good job.
Honestly, I didn't even think about that until you said it. So it's perfect. Thank you for saying it.
Yeah, good job.
All about the upgrade. I just sent a text for a meeting to follow up on a transition I'm working on. Good job, Liz. Colette, can you send us a pic of you and your launch outfit? There's a request for you in the chat. Oh, what else? I feel like there's just one more action to hear that's going to be so helpful and unlock something for so many people. Oh, is it you, River?
So I'm not sure how I do this today, but what I've just heard in a few of the shares recently here, when people say something like, oh, I appreciate your wisdom, or, oh, I really, you know how to say the right thing at the right time, or, oh, I just really, they'd say some sort of a compliment. And I have been brushing that away and saying, oh, well, thank you. Thinking that was my pride, not my pride, but like being able to say thank you, because usually I would normally want to say, no, I'm not, you got it too, or, just poo-poo it. So what I would like to start doing is to say, thank you, I'm a life coach, or thank you, and I'm a life coach. And then, like Jen just said, to follow up with,
if you'd like to work with me, or if you know somebody who could use my help.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that fits into today's action, but
Well,
I am still sort of flying off of the last call that was finishing just under 2 hours ago, and flustered by all of that. And I did take some really big actions in the, right, I flew off that call, came to the studio to teach, and was not at all ready, because I knew my inner listening is something I've been focusing on lately, and I knew I needed to speak what I had just been, I don't know, exploded with on the last call. And it was a little bit messy, and it really felt right. And so now this call is confirming that I also need to say, when people, like after the class, somebody said, you just say the right thing at the right time. And I could have, should have said, thank you, I'm a life coach.
Mhm.
And let me know if you know somebody, or if I can help
Yeah.
you.
So, oh, this is so good, River. I love this. So an action could be, you could still respond to some of those people who spoke to you earlier. It's not like too late. Your
I'm
action,
trying to follow up with people more by email. So yes, tonight I could email them and say, thank you so much for coming to class, and thank you for your compliment. And I just also want you to know that I do this. I'm a life coach. Ah, thank you. I had to speak it like a laureate.
Yeah.
good job, River.
Woo! I don't
Woof is
think I can take
right.
any more amazing today. This is like, if I could cry, I don't think I could cry, but if I could cry right now, I would be like bawling, because this is, the last few hours have been incredibly intense for me. Thank you all.
You're
You're
so welcome. Thank you. So, so we've been pulling from the integrated leadership course, lots of principles and concepts, things like the art of the question, catch and release, fun and strategic. We've kind of touched on a lot of those. And we have 2 offerings coming up. I'll talk about the first one, which is going to be next week, next Thursday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday the 19th, which is a free workshop called Unstuck, where we'll be going through some specific things from integrated leadership that can help you get unstuck in your projects. And then Jen and I are co-leading, of course, integrated leadership starting in November. Can you just give us the details for those, Jen?
Yeah. So you've heard bits and pieces of integrated leadership. Daniel and I will co-lead that program. It's a part of our Lightyear methodology, and it is all about being an integrated leader. We will start, so it's 4 calls. We'll start on November the 2nd, and we'll go November the 2nd. The following Wednesday on November the 9th. The 16th, we'll skip a week for US Thanksgiving, and we'll be back on the 30th of November. So we'll give you a little bit of a break during US Thanksgiving so you can be with your families. There's fun work to do during a fun homework assignment for you to do during week 3. And then also gives you a chance to practice these principles with your families over the holidays. So we'll start that in November. What you'll receive tomorrow is an email. We'll send you the recording of this. We'll also send you a coupon to sign up for integrated leadership, a link for the workshop next week. And then what I also want to put out there for you, and we'll share this in our email, is if you are new to Lightyear, or if you've been around at Lightyear and you want to know more, or you don't exactly know how this works and you think, I want to know how this works, it's super great. You can book a discovery call, a short 20 or 25-minute discovery call with myself, with Daniel, with our teammate Casey, and we'll like hold you real tight, not like we'll choke you, but we'll hold you real tight with love, walk you around through the platform, and help support you in getting like onboarded and really directed in the place that works for you. So know that that's available. Any of these, we'll send you in an email tomorrow, so you don't have to worry about that. You'll get the follow-up email, and we would love to have you. Daniel and I have fun together, and Daniel is Daniel's a super fun leader, and it would just be fun to have you there. What else do you
Thank
want to
you,
say,
Jen.
Daniel?
Well, I'm just looking, the chat is on fire right now. Like Liz is she's just handling her life and it's all happening this evening. She's doing great. Alicia talks about when people ask us how are we able to travel full time as a family, I'm going to respond. We created a vision and we set goals and made it happen. And I help clients do that too. I know I'm like scanning through this. It's so good. So good. Success has been had in this hour.
Mm.
Oh, Susanne, is there anything you'd like to say as kind of a final word for us this evening?
No, I just really feel that the people that have shared in the chat and live have really demonstrated their authentic confidence and their authentic leadership. The people that have listened, you've been really here with us. It makes a difference to us that you come and that you're willing to speak and have this recording be available in perpetuity on YouTube for people. There's lives that we'll touch in the future that of people we've never met. And that's part of the legacy of Lightyear, is to help this generation of people really fulfill on the purposes and possibilities that they've come to do. You're the ones. This is what we look like. Okay. So how about if we unmute, say goodbye and thank you. And you'll be getting a follow-up email from the team. And we're just really grateful that you're here. Take care, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, Lex. Bye, Betsy.
Bye.
Bye, Kathleen.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye,
Hi.
Queen.
all.
Take
Thank
care,
Bye,
guys.
Cecilia.
Bye,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.